There it is.
You there now?
Yeah.
Weird, because I hit accept the call and I can still hear the ringtone.
I was wondering if it
And
was a case of me having butterfingers or you, but I think it was neither of us.
yeah, it's kind of weird. I don't know.
We're here now. That's what matters. How's it going? How are you, man?
I'm okay. Just I'm good. No complaints, I guess.
You know, it never ceases to amaze me, kind of like in your industry when you tell me, some random stories. How many people I need to repeat the same thing to or miss the same thing I've already told them, and different methods that basically turn into weeks here where we make 30, 40 grand in a week or more. Um, and you can tell people the same thing over and over again, and even if they're decent at it or pretty good, they still need that wheel alignment.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that.
So it's just funny, because and people that are not like that are very rare. Like when years ago, when I would find something that worked, like if I saw a spark, I'd be all over the spark, and I'd make sure I didn't change what caused that spark. I would just do more of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyhow, how's your family? How's things?
Family is good. Um,
Great.
yeah. Honestly, can't complain. How are you guys doing?
Very good, thanks. Everything's cool. So let's see if we can reach a couple people.
Okay. Sorry.
It's okay.
I had to open my window. It's a little warm today.
It's okay. It's a good problem to have.
And of course, when I do that, all my systems turn on in my truck, and I was to the point where I was done with all that to not be an interruption. But we'll see.
Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah, it's about I don't know, 65, I guess.
Pretty good. It's about 30 here.
Fahrenheit, of course.
Yeah, 30 Fahrenheit here, 32. And for here, that's very good.
I was thinking about something that I wanted to talk to you about.
Sure.
I get a ton of calls all week long. I should say a ton, probably 4 or 5 a week,
Mm-hmm.
from different people trying to sell me something.
Yep.
And 9 times out of 10, I'm polite and I just say, I'm not exactly the right guy you should be talking to, but I can tell you who you should call.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just wondering, if those telemarketer type people or whatever they are, if they're calling 100 people a day, are they getting the one guy like me that goes, oh yeah, I'm really just not interested right now, thanks anyway, instead of the jerk?
I don't know what they're doing.
Oh, I don't know. I just kind of trying to relate it to what I'm doing.
Well, if they're calling you and you haven't asked to be called, it's not what you're doing, because they're outright just cold calling, and they're not calling somebody that filled out a form, which is better than calling someone that didn't. So it's not the same.
Right. Okay. But based on the people we've called so far, I would say none of them remember they filled out anything.
I could tell you that they all remember filling out everything, that they're all liars if they say they didn't. And what happens in the industry is, people fill out, like I've told you before, multiple forms, and then most of them are tire kickers, thus the 2.5%. And that's what it is. That's the whole trick, or whatever word you want to use, in the industry, what generates revenue is identifying that 2.5% out of the bunch.
Right.
Because if you called somebody up and they said, I filled out that form, I'm so happy you called me, and everybody that you called did that, then you'd need 5 leads a week and we'd be done.
That's true. Very true. Brian, the guy that knows everything about this business.
Well, I'm sure if I ask you the construction questions, you'll know everything about that too, right?
Yeah, no, I would. But it's just, yeah, I look forward to our talks because I always have things like that I'm pondering.
Well, you got to remember something, and I repeat this a lot. Think of this as like a year of practice.
Yeah.
Because the first part of it is mindset, right?
Yep.
So in anything you're doing, whether it's this or anything else, you could be flying a plane. I don't care what you're doing. If you're thinking, oh, it doesn't work, plane's going to crash, I'm going to die, well, you probably will.
Yeah.
So the first thing
Yeah.
is your mindset, and to get straight, and kick out of your mind that, oh, is this like, am I some like telemarketer calling deadbeats, and am I a deadbeat, and is everyone just, dragging their feet around here, and is this just like a whole big like zero? And the answer is, if you make it that way, yes. If you don't,
Hmm.
no. So you have to zoom in on the 2.5%. So that means, like I told you from the beginning, this is pretty darn boring.
Yeah.
But boring works with, pretty much anything, most things that you're going to
Yeah.
ever do. So you got to get past that psychological
Yeah.
point.
And I'm good. I'm definitely not in a negative place, but some encouragement is always needed.
Yeah, for sure. Look, even when you get your first couple sales, you're going to be like, excited, and then you're going to be like, I want more. Was this a fluke? Like I've been telling you. So it's the process never goes. The only time it really goes away is when you've been at it for a while and you realize that you know how to get some results, and that's just how it goes, and it's the process.
Yeah, and I remember one of the videos I watched that you did. You were talking about how when you start making some sales, you're gonna get to the point where you're like, man, what did I do, and how can I make sure I do it right again? And you're gonna play that what if game, and I can see that happening.
Look, it's been that way for decades, since the beginning, and even when I first started years ago and before the internet. It's, is it a freak thing? Is the industry going to get saturated? Am I just lucky? Am I just, not really, am I going to stay good at this? Can I get better at this? Are we going to run out of market? Is there going to be too much competition? It's with everything, with everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has all that noise. It's like your own internal heckler.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I
So,
saw something the other day. It was pretty cool. It said if you give a 3-year-old a box of crayons and ask them to draw their family, they do it and knock it out of the park. If you give the same thing to an adult, they'll sit there and hesitate because they're worried about what people think.
yeah. Yeah.
And it's like you overthink and you self-sabotage stuff.
Yeah. Overthinking is, very, very bad, because it doesn't typically do anything useful.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm ready to go if you're ready to listen.
I've been ready to listen since the beginning. I'll always be ready to listen. That's what we're here for. So whenever you're ready,
Okay.
it's good. And
Okay.
sometimes it's good to have a talk like we just did, or even a longer one, because it can be more productive than the actual act, of the
No, I
calling.
need it.
Because like,
I really need it because I do take your advice about getting this off my plate because I mean I still have some anxious feelings when I'm getting ready to call people, but it's nice when it's over because then I can just start focusing on other stuff and my excitement that this is going to work and it is going to pay off, and I'm just at the very beginning, and I'm building this business in its infancy, and a couple years from now or 6 months from now or whatever it is, when I look back going, man, that was dumb, I was so stressed out. I mean, that's all exciting, but when I'm away from you, for lack of a better statement, I think about what I could be doing, and yeah, it's always good to have a little talk before we get started.
you're going to be doing a lot more, and you should check it on the videos also. And there's, in the beginning, like I told you, it's slow, but these are things that everybody goes through. Listen, 90% of people fail. Not online, off any business, any new venture, 90% fail, and a lot of it is how they look at things, what their belief system is, what they pound into the ground thought-wise that they shouldn't, and what they don't do enough of that they should.
Yeah.
I've had people where, I'll just tell you very, very quickly, because we have a social media marketing agency. We run a lot of different campaigns. So I've had people that have their own internal teams that are doing things, that have, hired us, paid crazy fees for us to look at what they're doing and tell them why, they're the big L basically. Okay, why they're burning, you know, tens of thousands of dollars throwing money in the garbage. And the single biggest thing is logic. Like if somebody has a campaign that they're running and there's 4 components to that campaign and the campaign's not working and you have a big marketing team that has no clue what they're doing and they start tinkering with the campaign and there's 4 elements and what they do is they go in and they change 3 out of 4 elements and try it again. You're never going to know which of those 3 you changed made the difference.
Right.
You're just going to go round and round in a circle and blow your brains out and probably, depending on the size of company, throw away 20 grand to $500,000 in budget that's just going to be trash. So one of the things I do often is I go in and I tell them, listen, think of it as a pillar. What is there? There's an ad copy, there's your target market, and there's the words behind the ad, right? So if the ad's failing, start with the image. Change it. Did it do anything? Did it get worse? Did it get better? If it got better, guess what? The image helped. But if you change the image and you change the text, and you change it and you change the targeting, you don't know what the heck you're doing.
Yeah.
So that's a simple one, and then there's more intricate, but that's my my point. Like people are so in a hurry and so let me tear it down. It doesn't work. I'll crumple a piece of paper, throw it in the garbage. No, it's not. Grab a fresh one. That's not what this is.
Yeah. Little tweaks. Tweaks and then watch it. One little tweak and then watch it.
Well, you have to isolate.
A whole new redo.
Yeah, you have to isolate your tweaks. Otherwise, you're not going to have any idea if your tweak did anything or which one it was that did something.
To me, that's more stressful than setting it up. Because if, like you said, if you have 4 components to an ad or whatever, and you go in there because it's not working and you change everything, and then gets worse or gets better, that's stressful. That's a lack of control.
What's even worse is if you change everything and then the ad starts going great in comparison to the first one, but you have no idea which of the things made a difference. And then after a few days, the ad goes to crap again and you don't know why. And you don't even know if you should change everything, leave what helped. You don't know anything because you didn't track it properly.
Yeah, that's bad. Oh, okay. Fun stuff.
Common sense. You're looking for a nice person. If you don't speak to anybody today and you dial for 3 hours, which you're not because we're not at that stage yet, it doesn't matter. It's part of the process. You really want to just, speak to people that sound nice. It really is that simple in terms of who you're actually going to bother to spend a few minutes with.